Most people think if we use pesticides, if they're in our diet, that it's safe, that somebody's out there watching for us. But if you look at what's happened over the past century, we keep making the same mistakes again. This is called regrettable substitution. Early on, pesticide companies used lead and arsenate to kill pests, and then those were found to be a poison. They were replaced with DDT, which was then later found to be a poison. Then organophosphate pesticides, which now scientists are calling to ban because they're toxic too. Now we're shifting to neonicotinoids and pyrethroids, but there's already evidence that those are toxic. We keep making the same mistake time and again. We can find hundreds of chemicals in the bodies of pregnant women and children, even before children are born. So it really shouldn't surprise us that we're seeing so many children struggle with mental health problems. Over the past 30 years, I've been studying how chemicals impact children, and sometimes it seems overwhelming. But I've also begun to find that there's some simple solutions.
Growing up, I was a farm kid. My parents were pioneers in the organic industry. I always knew that I had something special because it was something that other people didn't understand.
We went to high school together. So she was always the family of 12 that were like the crazy family. They'd all try to get 12 kids in a car to go home, and you're just like, what?
We would always bring bags of carrots to market or to the school for snacks or lunch.
It's basically her mom's like,
if you want to hang out with her, you have to go to market.
So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to the market every Sunday. And then the crazy thing is, just because of how their family is we would come back from the market, we'd unload everything, and then we'd be canning pears until midnight. And I'm like, oh, this is my day off. So people always ask why we went organic, which there's lots of reasons. But one of the main things of why we wanted to grow food was so that we knew what we were feeding our kids and other people. Like, I couldn't imagine spraying a crop with something and then selling that to somebody or giving it to my family. That's my opinion.
Can you taste the difference? Yeah, most definitely. You can taste the freshness. You can feel the earth, taste the earth in a sense. You know, like conventional produce goes through so many steps to get to the supermarket, and it's washed in chemicals, and you can taste that. There's no love. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're using fresh organic ingredients, you don't have to do much. Like a tomato with olive oil, perfect. Nothing wrong with that. A peach with some smoked sea salt, awesome. Like, little things go a long way with organic food. As a chef, it's our job to nourish people. It's our job to feed people. So why wouldn't you want to give them the best ingredients? Like, if I'm going to eat that at home, I should make sure that my guests enjoy that as well, too. Hold on. You want to try? Go tell Kevin. Try that. Becoming a dad definitely changed my perspective. It really honed an idea of making sure you pass on your education, your good spirits, and then also you want to feed them well. You want them to grow up strong. You want them to understand food, especially coming from a chef. It would be horrendous if my kids didn't even know how to cook an egg or didn't understand the food process of organic food. That'd be pretty shameful.
What we know about children is that they're more vulnerable to toxic chemicals like pesticides. The brain is growing more rapidly, and rapidly growing cells are more vulnerable to poisons. We also know that children have a higher body burden of pesticides. The good news is we now know if you shift to an organic diet, the levels of pesticides in your body drop immediately.
It's important for me that the next generation, whether it be my kids or someone else's kids take over the land that I've farmed and can continue to farm it the way that we farm it and can continue farming it organically. If there is one thing that I learned from my mom is, teaching that next generation, teaching those young kids, that's where the future is.
It's lots of impact. There's the environmental impact of what it's doing to the environment, to our water source, sky, air pollution, all that. And then there's also the other side of where what it's doing to each person in their bodies. Like cancer rates are skyrocketing. Like you gotta wonder if that's coming from what we're putting into our bodies. I have a friend of mine that actually grew up on a conventional farm, working for his dad. He grew up spraying, and his dad would have him spraying. So at the age of 36, he got cancer. Like crazy, like how many people at 36 get cancer? And they equate it to the pesticides that his dad was having him spray. So it's sad. I gotta do exactly.
The biggest difference to me is the known versus the unknown. I know that everything that we do farming organically, I know it's okay for me. I know what's in my food. I know that there's standards that are being followed.
People around the world in North America and Europe and India are increasing the amount of organic food they're eating. A recent survey found that 85% of Americans eat organic some or all of the time. At some point, we'll hit a tipping point and eating organic will be the norm. It'll be done by the majority of people. That's good news that more people are choosing organic, but we also need to make it more available, promote more farmers to grow organic so that there aren't people left behind, particularly children and pregnant women. What we do every day, like the food that we eat, has an impact on us. It has an impact on our health. It has an impact on our children's health. It has an impact on the soil and the pollinators. So we have a choice in a very complicated world where oftentimes we don't feel like we have a lot of control over what happens. This is one thing we can do that'll have an impact. When we buy food at the farmer's market or at the store, choose organic.